And one graphic design hybrid. We're going to start out by seeing two illustration majors, the first of whom is Sheila Gordey.
Hi, my name is Sheila Gordey. I'm an illustration major, as Mike just said. I actually started senior year last semester. I started out doing character design, visual development, and making environments for a graphic novel. And after drawing the same characters over and over and over again, I got really, really tired of it. But I had the advantage that I had the summer to think about, okay, what am I really passionate about? What do I really, really want to do? And what I noticed was that in a lot of my off time, I'll tend to take a break from drawing and knit. So I thought, hey, you know what? Maybe I should take this love of knitting and combine it with illustration. So I thought a while about what themes I liked, and while I was watching this really, really crappy show called Lost Tapes. It's kind of like Blair Witch Project, Cloverfield type of show where it's like shaky camera. It's about cryptids, and in case you don't know what those are, the definition is hidden creatures, but they include things like Bigfoot or Loch Ness Monster creatures that people claim to have seen that we can't actually prove exist or don't exist. Well, some of them are proven don't exist, but anyway. So I found that I was really drawn to these creatures, and that's how I thought of my theme, Knyptids, or knitted cryptids. So, my project combines knitting and illustration. Some of my influences for my knitting are Hansi Singh, who creates these really incredible three-dimensional toys that are incredibly realistic, and Anna Ratchovic, who hers are a little more simple, but she almost creates story and sculpture. Like you can see that, like she creates a little skyscraper, or like a little television, and she just makes these really interesting creatures out of inanimate objects. And so I kind of took influences from both of those knitters. So my process is, as far as knitting goes, is I take, just crappy notebook paper, and I'll do several sketches. This is for the Mothman, and I kind of tested out, different wings, different antennas, and these are some other sketches for some other things. This is the jackalope down here, and this is the chupacabra. There's so many different descriptions of these creatures that I kind of have to figure out which shape works best for me. So I do all these little, just 3-second doodles to figure out which shape I like the best. Once that's done, I pick a final shape and I kind of do a little turnaround, and decide how wide, how tall, how thick or thin I want it, and from there I start writing the pattern. And then I test the pattern, and if you can see the big no cross there, that one didn't work, so I had to start over. This one didn't work, and I believe this is the one that did work, so I just kind of do, through trial and error, test my crazy knitting language until I find one that works for me. And in the end, I come up with something like this. So what I want to do with these is, when I'm going through the knitting books, I noticed that they have a big photograph of the created final piece, such as this, at the beginning, and I thought, that's kind of boring because there's photos of them throughout the entire pattern. So I decided that I wanted to do illustrations and kind of create a knitting pattern book as well as almost a guidebook where it would have the information about the creature, the location, how big it's supposed to be, whether or not it was actually proven to exist or not. I'll give an example once I get to it, such as the fur-bearing trout. It's a hoax. People just taxidermy these fish and they grow fungi on them, but it looks like fur. So the myth is that they're fish that grow fur to stay warm. And so this is the illustration right here, and this is the toy. And they would be paired like this, where the illustration would be there, and then there would be a pattern and more photos of the toy. It's Mongolian deathworm. With each illustration, I just kind of want to show what they do, where they live. They live in the desert under the sand, and they can spit acid, and they send an electric shock out, almost like an electric eel. Along with this, I kind of want to get into the process. It's kind of going backwards the way I do my drawings, but I'll do a pencil drawing, and then I'll go back to that. I'll do an ink like this, where it's just black and white, and then I'll do flat color, and then I'll add colored pencil to add, the fur texture and shading and the highlights. This is Bigfoot, obviously. This is the chupacabra, which I had to take some liberties with just because there's so many different descriptions of them out there. We're calling the it's a dinosaur. But yeah, I just kind of, there's so many of these things, I just kind of made a list of which ones were interesting and went through Tasselworm, catworm, that's his poison. And I just, in the end, I really want to just create a book that's informational as well as useful to people that are interested in knitting, and hopefully get people more interested in knitting. I want to see, I really want to try and teach a class, maybe a workshop to, you know, get people more interested in strange things. Like, I mean, even this one, this is a thylacine, they were supposedly extinct, and people still tend to see them. So, I mean, it's such a broad subject that's really interesting to me. And I mean, knitting's an art in itself. It's just three-dimensional, and I feel like I can teach people how to think three-dimensionally from two-dimensionally, because that's exactly how I went about my work. So, yeah, I really just, I'm interested in that.
After each of our presentations, we open up the floor for questions and answers. So if any of you have questions for Sheila, please.
I'm so excited. Commissions?
I've been thinking of it. I kind of had to take a break from looking into anything like that just because of school, but I'm probably going to open them up once school's out. I do have business cards in the other room, which I'm just interested in.
There are so many children's books, and my husband's a fourth grade teacher, that accompany with soft toys, and my husband, he will sew his own toys for the classroom, so I'd love to make the connection.
Yeah.
Cool.
What's inside of it?
It's polyfill. It's just stuffing that you can get from a craft store. It's non-flammable as far as I know. So nothing about it, just the yarn is incredibly flammable.
Have you ever thought of creating a complete story around each character? Because the expression in the eyes, like of the Yeti, you know, I just wanted to know more. He seemed a little more soulful and not kind of an evil monster. I can easily see where if you do the complete book with the characters with it, it just seems like an incredibly marketable.
It's been suggested to me, so I mean, I've considered it. It's just something that it's like a project on the like, let's see about doing this once I get this kind of out of the way type thing. So it's on the list, I should say.
During rehearsals, there were all kinds of talk. We rehearsed these, and the classmates, of course, helped each other so much. Talk about doing field guides, stories, calendars. I mean, the marketability is amazing. I have two things, Sheila, if you could. Can you go back to that slide with the notebook where you said no? And of course, I like the process, and that's the beautiful thing. I mean, look at what's bleeding through the page. There's like pages and pages of work in figuring these things out. And then maybe I was hoping you could hold them up and show some.
Yeah. This is a little bit like, I mean, they aren't huge, but.
How long does it take to create for each one?
I actually started timing myself to make the pattern itself. It takes a long time, like when I'm making a new one. It will take a couple days to work through it. Like the fish drove me crazy, but it only takes like 3 or 4 hours to create one once I have the pattern done. Only.
So what are their names? Did you name them all?
No, I figured that would come once I get to the story process. I actually thought about naming each one, so if I sell them, I can be like, oh, you got like Bill the Bigfoot, or you got like Bob the Bigfoot, but that's just one of those things that I've been kind of like playing around with as I'm working through how to best to market them and get them out quicker, because I mean, it's only 3 hours, but that's still 3 hours of time that it takes for me to, you know, get everything together and make everything. Just one more thing. I like to thank my family who's actually here for me. And my dad who's going to be taking me for things, my boyfriend, and all my crazy friends that actually like kind of ditched class to come in. So.
Thanks so much, Sheila. Great. Okay, this is going to be a quick change.